podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
He froze for a split second,
Jesus, Andy.
but you're back.
I'm back, baby.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I can't wait to talk today. Looking forward to these sports discussions today, Joe.
It's we finally had a good NFL weekend, right? Like for all the shitty matchups that we talked about, we at least had some good games. And by good, I mean close.
You think?
I guess there's a difference between good and close games, but some of those games that you would think would be shitty, like fairly well played. Like I don't know how much Falcons Cardinals you watch, but like we got like glimpses of Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
We had Jameis come in with one throw. The Jameis Winston stands online, excited for about 3 minutes before he regressed to being just regular old Jameis Winston. And like that was a close game down the stretch. Chargers Lions back and forth. I mean, even Jets Raiders came down the last play.
Man.
I think there was like 3 or 4 expiring time kicks to end games yesterday. And then, of course, like, what was the marquee game? Jags Niners. Just not a game for 1 second.
I saw an interesting thing about Trevor Lawrence, speaking of the Jags. Did you see Richard Sherman's tweet by any chance?
I did not.
He said, I guess he had been saying stuff about Trevor Lawrence. He tweeted yesterday afternoon during that game, towards the latter part of that game. So when I make an assessment, talking is difficult. So when I make an assessment that Trevor Lawrence hasn't been the generational talent he was billed to be coming out of Clemson, Jags fans were up in arms. So I guess he said that a bit ago. The tape doesn't lie. The team has won because the defense has gotten turnovers. Here's the interesting stat. At this point, Trevor Lawrence has more turnovers than TDs on the season. Despite that, his team has been winning. He has all the talent in the world. However, that has not been showcased consistently.
So I did not see that until now. It's not even a response to that because I'm not arguing with Richard Sherman, but my feeling about the words that he just wrote are simply that judging a guy based on the hype that other people put on him is unfair. The idea that we said Trevor Lawrence is going to be a generational talent and you have to sit through a whole nother year of him at Clemson, but he's going to be the number 1 pick. This is blah, blah. Like who, based on who? Based on what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'll counter that. It was based on everything since his freshman year at Clemson.
My point is, if our friend from Freezing Cold Takes wanted to do a whole book on one person, he could just do Mel Kiper's Freezing Cold Takes. Like, draft analysis is flawed at best. Trevor Lawrence is a good starting QB in the NFL. There's no doubt about that. He's their franchise QB. The idea that he hasn't lived up to the hype that other people put on him is like, okay, so what? Well, who does? You know?
I think you're picking straws right now.
I'm just saying his whole tweet is about he's not the generational talent we were told he was. Okay.
He's also saying so far. I think to counter, you have had guys who've come right in and taken the quote unquote next step. Now, to be fair, they have played in the playoffs. They have won a playoff game.
Right. But I guess the thing is, so I saw a thing yesterday. And when I say I saw a thing, my buddy texted me and he said he's a Giants fan. And he said the Giants fired the guy who wanted to draft Mahomes, that being like Ben McAdoo, who they fired the guy who wanted to draft Lamar Jackson, which I guess would have been Gettleman. I don't know. And they re-upped the guys, or they're sticking with the guys who wanted to give Daniel Jones $40 million a year. And I said, Daniel Jones has as many playoff wins as Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes went 10th. Like this idea, like Trevor Lawrence isn't Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes didn't go first. Like, oh, what we thought out of college. What you thought out of college was that it's weird that Andy Reid is trading up for a quarterback at 10th. Now, it's not weird now, but I'm just saying, like, name 5 guys who came into the league who were highly touted QBs, who went 1 or 2, who came into the league and then lived up to the hype. I mean, we could say this about Jared Goff 5 years ago.
Well, I know, but I could. Let's do it. Let's just do it. Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Peyton Manning.
Now do Andrew Luck, and then hop on Google.
Andrew Luck. So you're saying drafted 1 or 2 overall?
Yeah, or just guys are like, oh, Eli Manning was drafted 1 overall, won 2 Super Bowls, won 2 Super Bowl MVPs. At this point in his career where Trevor Lawrence is, Giants fans were up in arms. No, we should have drafted Cooper. We should have kept Phillip Rivers. All I'm saying is I don't think Trevor Lawrence is in the same class as the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. But
he's not.
Right. But
not right now.
So Richard Sherman's problem with him is he was hyped out of college.
Well, I think the point of Richard Sherman's tweet, and I haven't followed up before that, is just saying he hasn't lived up to the generational talent.
It's a real high fucking bar.
It is a high bar. But that, again, I know you want to keep saying the analyst. That bar was put on him by everybody, whether it's fair or unfair, right? Now, I did see something that's very interesting to kind of play into this discussion of quarterbacks and hype. We, through 10 weeks of the NFL season, have already had 10 NFL rookie QBs that have started a game, which is already a record.
Yeah.
We're basically a little over halfway through. We already have a record for most rookie quarterbacks. It's pretty insane. And some guys are succeeding, like a CJ Stroud, and then you have guys like Bryce Young who are obviously struggling. CJ Stroud at this point, I'm going to say it. I know a lot of people are saying it. He has entered the MVP chat.
I mean, I said it last week.
He's entered.
When you say some people are saying it, I said it last episode.
Okay. And you have a big road win yesterday after he does a terrible rookie pick 6, right? gets his team back in it. Or gets the other team back in it. It's like, he had 3 bad turnovers yesterday. I forget.
Yep.
Was that a pick six? Am I losing my mind? Was that a pick six?
I don't remember.
The interception at the end. That when the Bengals were down 10. No, it wasn't a pick six. They got it.
Oh, the you mean the one where and then he was down at like the 4 and they immediately scored.
Yeah. So it wasn't a pick six.
Yeah.
But my point is, he did have some bad turnovers, but on the road against a Super Bowl contender, wins. I believe he won at Jacksonville earlier in the year. That is the intangible, the it factor, the late game, come from behind, or you blow a lead, you come back, you can win. That puts him on another echelon so far. Like, he is breaking our Ohio State quarterback curse.
100%. I mean, I said that yesterday. I tweeted that from the Dirty Sports. I mean, the Ohioans having to watch their Bengals lose, I don't want to say a must win, but a would be great to win game against the first ever Ohio State quarterback that's not only competent in the NFL, but excelling in the NFL. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions.
So he has 15 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions as a rookie.
Yeah.
And they're right there for that division.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a must win, but had they won, how the AFC is shaping up.
How the AFC is shaping up, how the AFC North is shaping up.
I think it's a must win on Thursday. You know what kills the Bengals, which I think most people don't realize? They're not only are they 0-2 in the division, they're 1-4 in the conference.
Right.
So all those tiebreakers I was reading, they're like, everybody's going to finish. So many teams in that conference are going to finish with around 9 and 10 wins. The Bengals not winning conference games is going to literally fuck them.
Yeah.
Because they went undefeated against the NFC West, which ultimately is going to hurt them not winning. I don't know, man. Like, I was surprised, and I'm a little mad at myself because I said last episode, it's a trap. And in my head, I thought, do I want to say the Texans could possibly win? Because I'm saying it's a trap, but I'm not going all in. I'm just taking the Texans to cover the spread. But, Joe Burrow has an off game. He has some bad throws, bad picks. The defense plays terrible. Dare I say it? Here we are. I know Bengals fans are sick of hearing it, but I'm going to say it. Now, if you had a competent coach, I think that can offset it, but you don't.
I know you're sick of saying it, and I think a lot of dirtballs are sick of saying it or sick of hearing it. But like, also, you came on Thursday's episode and you said, I just wagered on Bengals Super Bowl and Joe Burrow MVP. Like, dude, the Andy Ruther curse. I mean, everything was, you were like, they're not making the playoffs. Now all of a sudden they go on a run, and then you go Super Bowl and Joe Burrow MVP, and now you're fucking with me. I also picked Joe Burrow MVP, and then you come along and you're like, yeah, I'm back on. I bet it. There it goes out the fucking window again.
Well, again, the Super Bowl again was just to hedge my other bet I have. That was purely to cover my losses. The Burrow MVP, I just said, why not? I'll just throw $25 down.
And then what you did is the Ruther curse essentially ignited the CJ Stroud MVP odds. Like you went, he dropped from plus 9,000 to plus 4,000 after the game yesterday.
Wow.
You bet earlier in the week on his quarterback counterpart in that game, and his MVP odds dropped in half.
By the way, bad showing by the Bengals fans. All you fans leaving when they're down 10. A lot of fans
Where
left.
are you guys going? That's the better question.
Where are they going?
I talked about it last week when I was in Vegas. It's like I've never, and I mean never, left a team that I root for's like somewhat meaningful game. Yeah, I'm sure I've left a Mets game at Shea in July in 105-degree weather when they're losing by 8, like whatever. But like to pay what I paid to go to Giants Raiders, I left in the early third quarter because I was disgusted. But I was like, well, let's walk back to the casinos.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk through the Mandalay Bay, make my way over to the MGM, maybe play a little poker, get in my jacuzzi tub, relax, have a bubble bath before my show. It's not like I was going back to fucking Kroger. Where are we guys going?
I don't know.
The club that's on top of the Kroger.
Which, by the way, I'm gonna have to send a video, guys. It's not just that Kroger. My local Kroger has a full bar, and there's a guy who plays music in the middle of the grocery store. And that bar on like a Friday night, a bar with TV, like somebody literally is going to shop and pick up produce and then have a drink and then listen to a guy playing the guitar. What is going on in Cincinnati? It's ridiculous. I was at the tailgate briefly yesterday.
Wow.
Briefly, because I had to deliver a giveaway gold star sign to some guys who won it at the tailgate, which I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to.
Oh boy.
Maybe the curse is from the NFL sending a letter to Gold Star about some of my content on Twitter. Yeah.
Please explain.
I haven't seen the letter. I'm waiting to see it. But on behalf of the Bengals, which we're assuming that the other current sponsor, Skyline, has issues with some of my content that, is infringing, but the NFL attorneys sent a letter to Gold Star on behalf of the Bengals. So maybe there's that curse. All I'll say is this much.
You guys should Gold Star should write back and say, we'd love to continue to remind our social media director of these complaints. Unfortunately, he's a 5-year NFL veteran and he has CTE, and you guys aren't doing anything for him. So his brain, he can't process any of this information.
I love that idea. I love that. But I mean, look, am I surprised? No, we all know the lengths the NFL will go to quote unquote appease their teams.
The NFL Twitter Chili Wars. This is a Netflix documentary waiting to happen.
It's unbelievable. You know what it is? Joe? It's that like they don't know how to post stuff for their team. And I do, and I make it fun and creative, and they're just butthurt. But whatever. So there was a little joy this week seeing them lose, full disclosure, because of things like that.
Oh man, Andy Ruther. Well, I mean, Andy's a bit like
I'm just saying.
You're the fucking Zorro of hopping on and off the bandwagon. Like you're doing horse tricks at this point. You're holding on to the head, you're swinging back onto the saddle, you're off, you're on.
It's not bandwagon. Don't come at me about my content when I'm not doing anything. When I'm not saying your team name. I know the Bengals are trademarked, never been mentioned. I know Huday's trademark, never mentioned. Don't be coming at me without coming at me, because you are. I see what you're doing. And don't think I'm going to ramp things up. I got a mustache. The confidence level. I'm just going to put it out there. I see the comments in YouTube. My confidence level since I shaved to the stash. Obviously, it's no Joe Prano stash. Doesn't even come close. But my confidence level since I trimmed the beard.
That's not the standard you should hold yourself to, Andy. That's like that's like saying your mustache is going to be a generational talent coming out of college. It's like, why? You don't have to do this. You don't have to set some bar. It's hard to achieve.
Well, here's the thing. I've had an extreme amount of confidence since Friday after getting a haircut and getting my grit stash going. And I don't know what it is. And Brittany keeps me like, why are you walking around like with this big dick energy? I'm like, the stash. And I love it. And you know what? I don't care if I look creepy or if I look weird or if I look like Aiden O'Connell. Is it Aiden O'Connell or Aiden O'Connor?
Aiden O'Connell, I believe.
I'm feeling the stash right now, Prano.
Good. Stash Brothers back.
Yeah, let's do it, man. And you know what? I like it. I like that little boost as I walk into daycare and they say, "Oh, who's this guy?" Yeah, I'm Isla's dad, motherfuckers.
I love the like, who's this guy? Are the daycare workers the employees of the Daily Planet? They don't recognize Superman when he puts on a pair of eyeglasses. Who's this guy?
Excuse me, sir. Are you lost?
No. Isla's dad is the guy with the little hands and the beard. Yeah, this is the same guy. He's wearing the same chili sweatshirt. He's wearing the same backwards hat.
You know who won the NFL this week, though?
No. Isla's dad's the guy. His picks pullover with the beard. Yeah, this is the guy. He's the same guy.
You know who the biggest winner this week, though, was in the AFC? The Chiefs. On their bye week, the Chiefs were the biggest winner. The Bengals lose, the Ravens lose, and the Jags lose. And I'm not going to talk about their player who's dating a pop star. Sorry. I know we got a call about it. Can't do it. Don't really care. But they were the biggest winner this week because here we are, once again, setting themselves up for a 1 seed. I went into the numbers last episode. The Chiefs have always played an AFC Championship game at Arrowhead. The numbers don't lie. Your chances of making the Super Bowl, and here they are. Ravens just choke away a game. That was another choke fest. They did it against the Steelers, then they now do it against the Browns. I'm shocked they're choking away these games under Harbaugh. You know, he's a good coach.
AFC North's tough, man.
Who do you like in that? I saw a wild take last night on the NFL game day with why am I forgetting his name? Former Jags running back who does
Maurice Jones-Drew.
Maurice Jones-Drew. Guess who he predicted to win the AFC North?
The Steelers.
He did.
Yeah. I didn't see it, but when you say wild take, I'm assuming that means he either picked the Steelers or the Browns. And the Browns, man, like early in the game, Ravens go up, pretty quickly.
17-3.
But Browns defense, finds a way to get it together. Huge pick six, missed extra point. That felt very Browns-ish. You're like, oh, Browns. Like you had the fucking tip, pick six. You go down, it's like, oh, we're going to tie this game. You miss. And then you still end up winning. I mean, wild.
Dude,
listen,
Deshaun Watson was he was 14-14 in the second half.
With a rushing
huge
TD.
Run.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson, yeah, there's moments. You know what's crazy is, we're talking about CJ Stroud. Obviously, the regime is totally different in Texas now, in Houston. But like we're pretending like it's almost like people have forgotten. Like Deshaun Watson came in and was really good right away. And, that was, I think the finances of the deal never made sense because you're like, you don't have to pay him that much and you don't have to give up that much because the guy just missed a whole fucking season. It did seem weird that he came back. It didn't seem weird that he came back and struggled. I think obviously with everything and the year off, blah, blah, blah. But it did seem weird to me that he struggled as much as he did to open this year. I was just like, what, is this just like a mental thing that we can't come back from? He's obviously a very, very talented guy. And it's almost like physically to me, when I watch, he looks like two different players when he's like playing well and he's not playing well. like yesterday on that run, and in the second half, I'm like, oh yeah, that's Deshaun Watson.
That's
and then the
Houston
other
Deshaun.
time,
yeah,
I'm like, other times I'm like, that's a guy in a Scooby-Doo Deshaun Watson mask. You're like, oh, it was Blake Bortles the whole time.
If he plays like he did in that second half, and with that defense, I mean, who says they couldn't win the division, right?
But I guess my hesitancy is just they're the Cleveland Browns. That would be my hesitancy.
For sure.
But what is making that division interesting is like you have 4 teams, and there's some divisions historically who have been like that, but it doesn't feel like it in the last few years where there's been 4 teams and you're like, any one of them can beat any one of them. The NFC East has always had a vibe like that, but like the last couple of years, like, there's some separation. Some of the shittier divisions have that where you're like, oh, I guess the AFC South, like no one gives a fuck. But like 4 good teams, and like no one's going to be a 5-point favorite over anybody else.
Well, why was that spread 6.5? Did we ever figure that out?
No. Which is why we both picked the Browns.
Yeah. It really is a tough division. And not only is it tough, here's the thing. They are going to beat each other up. But again, that's why those division and conference games are going to be so important. And look, there's some interesting things too. Like Lamar Jackson's 7-1 against the Bengals.
Yeah.
Like he's had their number. Joe Burrow, I believe, is like 1-4, 1-5 against the Browns. So like you have some mismatches, so to speak. And I can't remember. Can you, Joe? I can't remember a Thursday night game this big with 2 division rivals. Maybe I'm just completely forgetting last year, the year before, but this big. I mean, a short week, both teams coming off a loss. There's a lot on the line on Thursday.
What are those standings sit at right now? The Ravens still lead the division.
Yeah.
Browns are a game back and now have the tiebreaker.
The Browns and Steelers are both 6-3.
Right. And the Bengals are 5-3.
5-4.
5-4. Right.
Both the Steelers and the Browns have beaten the Ravens.
Right.
So, and from the Bengals standpoint, again, I'm so sick of the comparing to the past years. They were 5-4 last year.
Right.
They also didn't have to play all these games. Like, you have 4 more division games. You have at Jacksonville. You have a Minnesota team coming to town who's playing great. You have at the Chiefs. Like, if you're a Bengals fan right now, your goal should be 10 wins. That should be your goal. And the Vikings, I do want to talk about them. The Josh Dobbs show is, dude, I am like liking watching them. I find myself enjoying watching them play. The whole situation is really interesting with his contract. They've won 5 in a row. Again, I've said how much I love Brian Flores. I think he's a really good defensive coach. He's whipped that defense into shape. I think the Vikings make the playoffs.
Well, in the NFC, yeah, it's likely that they do. I think that you're still going to listen. There's so many layers to this as somebody who just like weirdly got pulled in to the Vikings fans' delusion over the last few years. Just by sitting here and being like, this is the very obvious thing, and then having to be dragged down by these lunatics. Josh Dobbs is showing you that Kirk Cousins is trash. I'm sorry, but like you just plugged and played a guy who came in and didn't even know the fucking play calls.
Bro, did you see the video yesterday? He didn't know where the home locker was.
Right. Now, counterpoint, he's beaten the Falcons and the Saints.
And that's a good counter.
Other counterpoint is you continue to be, and this is what I said to one of the more delusional Vikings fans I've dealt with over the years, and one of the guys who just like for some reason can't go away, and also I'm not sure has ever had a cogent point whatsoever. So you make the playoffs as a Vikings team. In a weak NFC, you get the 6th seed or the 7th seed. Now what? The Vikings are playing like this. The Vikings are playing like this with Josh Dobbs. What, like, we're now, like, I hate to say it, but we're now back to that question mark. Like, so if you believe in this regime, which you should, right? You like your head coach. You like your defensive coordinator. You like how your team's coming together. You love your weapons. Addison, Jefferson when he's healthy. You know, you love all these guys. This whole thing's coming together. Josh Dobbs, can we agree, is not going to the Super Bowl this year? Probably not going to the Super Bowl ever.
Agree.
So you also have a situation where maybe Josh Dobbs is playing himself into at least getting a contract from somebody. Where, like, are the Vikings a quarterback away?
You're right back at square one.
And so doesn't it feel like the obvious thing here is the Vikings might extend Kirk Cousins before they even have to make a free agent decision? And then I turn into the Joker in the comic book where you just see ha-ha-ha's coming out of my head as I walk away. Like, the thing about this regime is, like, wouldn't you love one of these quarterbacks who's coming out of college? Wouldn't you be like, holy shit, Josh Dobbs? He came in the play. Like, give us this QB. Give us the kid from Michigan. You don't have to go with one of these top 2 guys. Give us like JJ McCarthy. But you're not going to be in that position because you're going to be the 7th seed with Josh Dobbs, which I get it. You can't tank when you're like, have a competent team, but I'm just saying you are playing yourself into the middle here a little bit.
It'd be pretty funny. Right now they are 7th seed. The Lions are 2 seed. It'd be pretty hysterical if they won a playoff game
and beat the Lions.
And with Josh Dobbs.
Didn't I say that last week? Didn't I say this is truly the thing? I'm truly rooting for this. And then they're like, we're right there. And then they extend Kirk Cousins anyway. And then they start 0-3 to start next year. And you're just like, you know, the fake Einstein quote gets like spray painted on the side of the fucking their stadium up there. Insanity is doing the same thing with the most mediocre shithead quarterback over and over and thinking things are going to be different.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. Like, because the NFC is so weak. And I was just looking, you know, they have a fairly, I don't want to say easy schedule, but they have a schedule where they can definitely make a playoff push. I mean,
and the NFC's so weak that like, and this isn't shitting on the Lions. I'm just saying, like, you're also the Lions. I'm not predicting a Vikings beat the Lions in the first round of the playoffs. I'm just saying I would love to see it. But the tweet I said yesterday, and I was obviously half joking, but like, the Kirk Cousins era is going to be squeezed in between Case Keenum and Josh Dobbs taking them to the NFC Championship game, and delusional dipshit Vikings fans are still going to be like, Kirk's completion percentage is elite. And you're like, guys, I don't know what to fucking tell you. Do you just hate winning? Do you just hate winning football games? What kind of stranglehold did this fucking dickbag have on your fan base?
I have to make a confession. I'm enjoying watching the Lions at this point. The Lions are a fun team to watch.
Yeah, they have fun. I mean,
their offense is fun
Brown
to watch.
Is like a huge play every week at this point.
You know, St. Brown has the most catches of anybody drafted in that class.
That's great.
I mean, it is interesting. Like, he has more catches than Jamar Chase. He has more catches than Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. And by a long shot. They showed that stat yesterday during the Chargers game. The Chargers are so bad on defense. There was, watching that Chargers-Lions game, there was zero doubt in my head every time the Lions needed to score that they would. And why does Brandon Staley always look like he's lost?
I think because he's lost.
He's got that look on his face. Like, he can't find it. Yeah, he's in the airport and he's like, God damn it, where's my luggage?
Yeah.
He's walking around. He doesn't know where he's going. He's confused.
And what's crazy about Staley and the Chargers defense, how many playmakers can you have on one defense and still be mediocre?
I don't get it. Like, how is it possible? They couldn't stop the Lions at all yesterday. Not went both ways. Neither team could stop either team yesterday.
Right.
Which is concerning if you're a Lions fan come playoff time as well.
Sure.
The Chargers are not only can they not stop anybody. Dude, it's so depressing watching their home games. You're getting shown out by Lions fans in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Fucking Lions fans in Los Angeles. It's like they're never going to have a home, man. No one's ever going to embrace them in Los Angeles.
And what the funniest part about it is, like, the NFL, which we just talked about before, and their insanity. They not only did they try to create a fake Chargers fan, but all it did was make people not want to be a Chargers fan. You're like, I don't want to fuck. I was thinking about being a Chargers fan, but like, what the fuck is this? Do I have to buy a Carl's Jr. hat and a fucking Derwin James jersey and go to games? Like, ah!
That is true. I never thought about that. Why would you want to be associated with that woman?
No.
She's the most embarrassing fan ever.
It's like when they show the guy at Lions games who's dressed up like an actual lion. You're like, fuck, dude. Like, what the fuck? It's like, we're winning the playoffs this year. You're like, oh, God, some weird Wizard of Oz cosplay, NFL crossover cosplay.
I have to comment on the cosplay. The cosplay thing is out of control in the NFL now. It's really out of control. The grown men cosplay, right? It's like you've taken on different characters of different shows and movies, and you've morphed that into your favorite NFL team. I just like I don't know. Like, I'm just gonna say it. The dorkdom. And I wasn't an all-state player. We all know that. But the dorkdom that has entered professional football is next level now.
Are you saying of the NFL, of the players?
No, of the fans.
No, fans, yeah.
Like, the level of, again, I was probably I went down to the Bengals tailgate yesterday to drop off a Gold Star sign, and I'm dead sober. It's probably, the lot's already completely packed, right? It's 10:15 a.m. for 1
There's a
o'clock.
guy licking his hands.
You coming here with the sign?
No, those guys were actually chill. The guys I gave the sign to, those guys had a badass setup. They Bengal-fied a bus they bought, and they have a giant. This is like something your brother Mikey would do. They bought a giant
Bengal-fied. I love that we're acting like that's a real word.
Well, they Bengal-fied a giant casket that you lift up, and it's full of booze. So like
a casket?
Yeah.
Some Undertaker shit?
Yeah, so you lift it up, and it's just full of ice and fucking booze. So like they had a pretty badass setup. But like the cosplay people,
I love that you're fucking hyping them, and you're like the cosplay people. You're like, their badass was pretty set up. They were like, just go over to the Count Bengula coffin, and the vampire Bengal will give you a beer when you lift the coffin. You're like, the cosplay guys, though, they're out of control.
No, but
these guys, they Bengal-fied a bus. But these guys, man, they've taken it too far. Why are we acting like Bengal fighter is a real word?
Well, okay, fair point. But to me, there is a difference. The guy who's wearing a Jamar Chase jersey and he has a bus with stripes on it, and the guy who's taking 3 hours to put face paint on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was laughing.
What's funny is, for me, like, I have a lot of Giants gear, and I base my like Giants thing, like, when I went to Miami, I ended up going to the game, but I brought like a white Giants polo shirt and a Giants bucket hat. You know, I'm like, okay, I'm in Miami, like summery vibes. We're going to New Orleans in December. I've got in late-ish December, I've got a Giants Christmas sweater. It's like, that's what I'll wear to the game. But yeah, and even sometimes then I'm like, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. And instead, these guys are like, honey, I know we said we were going to do brunch, but the Bengals game is at 1 today. So feels like we're going to have to be spending the morning painting each other's faces.
That's what I'm saying. As an adult, as a fucking adult, I just, again, people can probably say, okay, we just are passionate about it, but I can have an opinion too. And I think it's weird. Like let me put it this way. The line between you as an adult, because there has to be a distinction, as a 45-year-old man with 2 kids going full face paint to turn into a tiger, dude, you're a furry, man. I'm sorry, you're a fucking furry. I'm just going to say it. I think the furry thing is hilarious, and I think this is hilarious. You're a furry. You're no different than a fucking furry. You might as well show up to those conferences. It's just because we're older now, Joe. So I have a different perspective. And also I have a different perspective of, I'm putting on all this gear and face paint to root on 25-year-olds.
Oh, dude. I mean,
that's bizarre to me.
I'm at a point in my age as a sports fan where I'm not even really comfortable wearing jerseys anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I don't even really, like, I almost rarely rock a jersey. Like, when I go to Mets games, you don't really see me in a jersey. And if I do, I have like a throwback 86 with like no one's name on the back. You know what I mean? And even like the jersey thing, it's like, okay, you know, I'll get a Keith Hernandez jersey. I don't have one, but I'd like wear one.
I think throwbacks are cool.
But it's also just like wearing the jersey of a guy who's 20 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Is weird.
It is weird.
I'm essentially wearing children's clothing. I'm doing child's cosplay.
Yeah. No,
like Eli Manning is basically the last guy whose jersey I have and what we'll wear.
Yeah. But again, NFL fans, dude, I see more now, especially running Gold Star's Twitter and just seeing some of the super fans. Dude, I saw somebody talking about how bad their day was after our loss, and it was so great to see my daughter.
All right, listen, can you take it easy on Randy? I mean, they're 5-4 now. I don't know if he's Take it easy on Randy Ruther.
How are we doing, Randy?
Randy, I was texting you, dude. When the Bengals are up, fucking 6 points in any football game, Randy's firing up. Randy's the fucking machine gun Tommy of fucking text messages. Yesterday, I almost sent it directly to Justin because he is the guy. He was the poster child for like, man, it must be tough watching CJ Stroud be the guy to Ohio State fan watching the first ever Ohio State QB dismantle the Bengals. I only added you on because I didn't want to like trigger him. I was just like, yeah, I'll send it to the Bengals crew, who's all the two of you. My question is, why am I even included in the Bengals text half the time? Like, I don't need this. I'm not even watching your fucking game. You two Bengals fans, Randy combo, but I'm always tagged in. So I decided to get in on the fun this time. No reply. I started worrying. I was like, do we have to do a wellness check on Justin between CJ Stroud dismantling the Bengals, a Veterans Day PTSD? I was like, if he didn't just get a Veterans Day signed Joe Burrow helmet, I'd be sure he was gone. Just no reply. The audacity.
Yeah, well, I knew he wasn't feeling good because he didn't text me at all yesterday. Like you said, he normally texts me during Bengals games, especially on a 4-game win streak, but nothing. I think deep down, I know what it is with him and most Bengals fans. And deep down, they know they're stuck with that fucking boob of a head coach because they had Marvin Lewis for 15 years. And their only hope is that he's not calling plays. But they know they're stuck because you look at the AFC North. I saw a Bengals fan make an interesting point. And I'll pose it for you and for our show. Somebody said, dude, the Steelers are 6-3 with nothing offensively. Right. Like nothing. Somebody said, imagine if Mike Tomlin was our head coach. Where he's just like, yeah, I'll handle the defense. Somebody like just like the weapons the Bengals have. And you're just like, how are the Steelers 6-3? How are the Browns 6-3? And the Bengals are 5-4 with that amount of talent on both sides of the ball. And to me, a lot of it does come back to coaching. And you and I always talk about the 3 pillars come playoffs: defense, head coach, quarterback. Well, if the Bengals defense plays sus, they stand no chance because of the coach. And that's kind of what will lead me to talk about the 49ers, Joe. When that defense is back, good luck. You saw it yesterday. That the Chase Young thing still blows my mind. Dude, they gave up peanuts for Chase Young.
Yeah.
They gave up nothing.
And I don't know if you saw the story yesterday, but the story yesterday was they got into the mix when the asking price came down. And this is I guess a good bridge conversation. Like why always the Niners? Why is it the Niners grab McCaffrey? Why is it the Niners grab Chase? Like your Bengals could have used a fucking pass rusher.
Well, what do I always say, Joe? There are certain franchises that actually want to win when push comes to shove. And again, I don't get all the other franchises. Dude, we're talking, what'd they give up for Chase Young, a 3rd-round pick? If you already had a decent pass rusher, and most teams have at least one decent pass rusher, you're going to pair him with, like how unstoppable are they going to be now with Bosa and Young?
And Young hasn't been, to steal a page out of Richard Sherman's book, he hasn't been the generational talent that people were calling him coming out. But at the same time, and this goes back to the conversation about quarterbacks, and it goes back to the conversation about whatever. It's like, where was he? It's not that hard to block Chase Young when you don't have to fucking block anybody else. It's not that hard to block Chase Young. Like, I was never worried about Chase Young as a Giants fan because you're just like, yeah, but his team is sus. This whole thing, it's like, it's not hard to take care of that one. And we've seen this before with pass rushers in the NFL. It's like when you're that one guy or when you're that one corner, Why am I even going to throw the ball at you? I'll throw the ball at these other guys. And then you grab that guy and you stick him on a defense that's good. And suddenly you're like, fuck, well, we can't just avoid him because they have a good defense. Listen, the Niners, I mean, and again, another, easy shift over to the conversation, but Big Cox Brock's nuts dropped again. Look at that, bro. He's in the warm weather in Jacksonville. And suddenly the nuts are dropping. He's back.
It helps that Debo Samuel came back.
Helps that his fucking all-pro left tackle blindside blocker came back. It helps that they added to the defense and they're short fielding again. Oh, fucking look at him. Just masterful. The new Tom Brady. Elite. We took a couple weeks off from just sucking Big Cock Brock off. Oh, the phone lines are open, guys. Call and tell us how I'm. Call and tell me how I'm just, not honest about Big Cock Brock's ability to drive the ball down the field. It's like, this is what I'm trying to tell you guys.
But hold on, he is a good Q. I know you're joking.
He's a
dude. He's a good quarterback.
He's a good quarterback, but also, I think there's 25 quarterbacks in the NFL that could play like him if you put him on that team.
I
all the
disagree.
weapons.
I completely disagree. 25.
Yeah.
You think 20? You're out of your mind. I think that's disrespectful to Brock Purdy. 25 quarterbacks?
Yeah.
No.
Everybody shits on the thing that people don't understand. It's like, I don't think he's an elite quarterback. Now, listen, that doesn't mean you can't be growth is probably super important, but there's guys, listen, we all agree that the Joe Burrows and the elite guys are going to be there. Now you look like a guy like CJ Stroud who goes on the Texans. We think he'd be fucking fine, right? But it's those middle guys. It's the people that everybody wants to go, fucking, you're telling me Derek Carr wouldn't be great.
I was just no.
On the Niners?
I don't.
See, I think you're completely and totally wrong.
I dude, how many years has Derek Carr played?
But how many years has he played on the fucking dude? Brock Purdy had it was 3 weeks without an all-pro tackle and one of his 9 weapons, and it was all of a sudden the Niners are in a tailspin. Everybody's back, and then the marquee game of the week, they just shit on the Jaguars.
Look, I know the defense matters and having your team healthy and your blindside tackle, all that stuff's so important. But I don't think you can take 20 quarterbacks and just stick them in there. I really don't. And I don't think Derek Carr.
Dude, Jimmy Garoppolo played in the fucking Super Bowl.
He didn't play at the level Purdy's played at. He didn't, though.
They didn't have Christian McCaffrey. He played in a Super Bowl. He almost won a Super Bowl. He almost beat Mahomes in a Super Bowl. I mean, if that's not quarterback X, if that's not just average quarterback guy.
What about Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, Kirk Cousins would be fucking great on the Niners. Now, he might also be Jimmy Garoppolo, where you get to a Super Bowl and he misses the one throw he needs to make because he's a fucking choker. Sure. But yeah, Kirk Cousins on this Niners team, they're going to the Super Bowl in the NFC.
Well, look, I think a lot of it has to do with mistakes too. And for the most part, Purdy doesn't throw bad picks. He doesn't turn the ball over.
But we were just talking last week about it. It was like, what do you see, Prano? What do you see in fucking Kenny Pickett? Like, dude, just swap those guys out, and they're probably the exact same. They're in the exact same situations.
Now, when they play like they played yesterday, who's beating them? Even the Eagles. The Eagles obviously have a 2-game advantage right now in the loss column, but man, when the Niners play like they can, And then that leads me to this. Who is the MVP, man? I've never seen a season where you're left with so many question marks. They say this might be the year the quarterback doesn't win it again. No quarterback has stood out so far. And the problem is the Mahomes kind of has a LeBron James issue going on, where your previous seasons are so high, even when you have a very, very, very good season, it doesn't compare to your previous seasons.
I'll say this, though. The NFL seems to do that less than the NBA. The NFL seems to be less concerned with MVP fatigue.
True.
And I think that the quarterback dominance on the MVP, we always say about the NBA MVP voting, it's not the most valuable player. It feels like with the quarterback dominance, the NFL voters seem to understand that the award is the most valuable player. So yeah, Mahomes isn't having the Mahomes season, but also if he just continues to play like he does, because Patrick Mahomes is the guy, we're not going to have the Patrick Mahomes meltdown game, right? And so if he just stays steady and all these other guys have big ups, big downs, big whatever, hard for it not to be like right now, I don't know, Mahomes McCaffrey? What, I mean, you tell me, what are the odds at?
I'm going to pull up right now. You know,
Mahomes,
a lot of people.
McCaffrey, Lamar.
Well, you're gonna be surprised. And I don't know. This is Fox Sports, so I don't know who they're using. But they're using somebody, right? So I don't know who they're as far as what let's pull up FanDuel. Okay, so right now, yeah, it's basically the same. You have Patrick Mahomes at plus 270, Jalen Hurts plus 300, Tua plus 600, along with Lamar, Josh Allen plus 1,400. CJ Stroud is still plus 2,000 with Joe Burrow. Christian McCaffrey's plus 3,000.
Love that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you score, I mean, we went through those years of LaDainian Tomlinson and whatever. Like, I mean, I know he didn't extend his record yesterday, but if you score a touchdown in 16 of your 17 games we have multiple. I mean, if you have 20 plus rushing and receiving touchdowns, you get them through. I don't know. What's crazy is the Jalen Hurts number makes me think that they're valuing the wins and the losses, which obviously is important, but if that's the case, then it's just going to be like, it's almost like Jalen Hurts is like a zero number, because if Jalen Hurts is that high, then just Patrick Mahomes is winning the award in a way, right? Like tougher conference gets the 1 seed, better numbers. Like it's almost like if you have Jalen Hurts at plus 270, you're pissing away your money on that number, unless you believe in some sort of MVP fatigue.
You mean you could have some dark horses, man? Let's say the Browns win that division and Myles Garrett leads the team in sacks. He's going to get MVP votes. I'm sorry, leads the league in sacks. Like you're going you might have something like that happen.
But we all agree that Myles Garrett isn't the most valuable player in football, right?
Well, for sure. He's not the quarterback.
Right.
It's really tough not to say the quarterback because he's obviously the most important position on his team. So then he'd be the most important position in the league. It's real tough. But like, I'll just say it. If I'm voting right now, the most important player has been CJ Stroud, dude.
Your MVP vote right now goes to CJ Stroud.
It would go to CJ Stroud. You have a team, you have the Houston Texans, a total dumpster fire. Who's playing better quarterback right now at that position than CJ Stroud? Who's playing better?
I mean, I haven't dug into the nitty gritty of the numbers,
But who's playing better?
Yeah.
No one's playing better. And you have a team that currently is in the playoffs. My point is this. If he plays at the same level and they make the playoffs and nobody really, really stands out.
Well, I mean, I don't think he's going to play at the same level, right? Like you're saying if he keeps this going throughout the year.
Correct.
Yeah. That's going to be tough, but.
Sure. It'll be tough.
But now how about this?
And their coach, side note, D'Amico Ryans will be my coach of the year.
What about this? Do you think I'm not ready to give him the MVP, even though I feel like the national media guy had started the MVP talk last week.
I'm just saying right now. I'm not ready to give it to him. I'm saying right now. If you had to vote November 13th right now,
if I had to vote right now, I'd vote for Patrick Mahomes. And my vote would probably go Patrick Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey. That would probably be my vote. And then I might have CJ Stroud third. And I don't have a vote, by the way. Kirk Cousins would be last.
Shots fired. Just unwarranted.
Unwarranted.
Just fuck Kirk Cousins.
Can we rename the Ewing theory, one of the most offensive theories in sports media history that Bill Simmons created? Can we rename it the Kirk Cousins theory? Side note, though, if CJ Stroud won the AFC South, that's gonna help get my vote. You win the division.
Yeah. You know what's crazy, man? You think about him, and you asked it last episode if he'd be a top 5 quarterback in the next few years. We both agreed he would, simply on what he's doing with a traditionally dumpster fire franchise. Again, the AFC, though, man, think about that. The rich young talent of quarterbacks in that conference. And you look at that moving forward. It's pretty insane.
My nephew, who is a psychotic football fan, and I got to give him some credit. He's had some great polls over the last few years for as young as he is. I believe one year he won our playoff bracket. He called via my brother yesterday after the game-winning Texans field goal. And my brother said he wants to go on the record. I was like, okay. And I hit the tape recorder. I said, you're on the record. What do you got? And he said, CJ Stroud will be an all-time great. An all-time great. I was like, it's a bold statement. And I said, steak dinner, all the fixins, all the things you want. If you're right, on me. And then I also said, but if you poop vomit it up after, you have to repay me, because sometimes he goes and overeats and simultaneously poops and vomits after his meals. So,
wow, that's a winning combo right there.
Yeah. And by sometimes I mean one time, but I still call him poop vomit.
Poop vomit. Well, there's a long way to go for the all time.
I know, but he's on the record, so it's official. Michael Thomas, Prano Jr., aka Deuce, on the record. CJ Stroud, all-time great, aka poop vomit.
I did look as someone watching that game. I thought for sure the minute the Bengals tied it, I was like, they're gonna win this. They're gonna win this. The Bengals D is gonna step up. They're gonna win. Dude, he just and you know what's crazy about him is he's not doing dink and dunk, man. He's throwing the ball down the field. But again, I go back to my point earlier in the episode. The Chiefs are the biggest winner in all this, man. The Chiefs are just sitting at home on their bye week. All these teams are losing. The Chiefs have
sitting
the best
at home or sitting in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
You know?
Down there. Which you and I have talked about. Like, guys, I don't really care what somebody does in their bye week. Just show up ready to play. That's what matters.
Andy only cares if you're on a boat.
No, I don't really care. You seem to be the one who cares because you seem to go back to that all the time.
Oh yeah, I go back to that all the time. I'm truly like, dude, you got to remember, to me, it's a job. Like all that and whatever, it's still a job, you know? And we love, like, as somebody who's in comedy or somebody who's in the arts or somebody who's in sports, whatever, it's like, it doesn't seem like that's the job, but it is their job. It's their job. And a lot of these guys, maybe, you know, a lot of athletes, when their job's over, they don't know how to handle it. And then there's other athletes who's like, it's a job. Like, I don't give a fuck what you do on your day off. That's your day off, man. It's your week off. NFL players, for the entirety of a season, they don't really get a day off.
No.
Like, because, like, if you have a day off between a Sunday game and a Tuesday practice, you're doing the fucking, you're in the facility getting treatment or whatever. Like, you're still having to prep for the next team. You're reading the shit. Like, so on your bye week, like, I literally don't give a fuck. Now, you can't go, you know, fucking ski jumping. But short of doing the dumb physical shit where you might get hurt, dude, I don't care if you get on a fucking plane and go to New Zealand.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter. Just show up ready to play.
And honestly, I don't even know who the Chiefs have coming off their bye week. But it's like the whole, oh, they lose. Well, maybe you shouldn't have. Like, don't miss me with all that shit. That's just fandom. That's like loser fandom shit where you just like can't. It's like, dude, they're not
the Eagles.
Yeah, they're not thinking about you at all as a fan.
That'll be a fun one. That's Eagles Monday Night Football.
Yeah, and that'll be great. And listen, the Eagles are a good team. Where's that game? In Philly?
Kansas City.
Okay. If the Eagles win that game, it's not because Travis Kelce went to fucking Buenos Aires or wherever the fuck. I promise.
Yeah.
Also, Andy Reid off a bye week at home. I don't think the Eagles are going to win that game.
But by the way, speaking of Andy Reid, why do they make him look so stupid in these commercials? Dude, I was thinking about this yesterday. You know, they put him in that State Farm commercial with Patrick Mahomes and Jake from State Farm. And he's like a big fat Neanderthal, like, yeah, French fries. Yeah, me like, I was like, Andy, they're just making you look a big fat bozo. Like, dude, you're one of the best offensive minds that's ever.
I know, but can we like, let's keep one thing in mind. They're like, Andy Reid, you just won the Super Bowl. What do you do? He's like, eat a cheeseburger. So it's not like they're like forcing him to. Not like he's a fucking, you know, some Rhodes scholar that they like make into like a bumbling fat man for commercials.
I know. A fair point.
Let's go eat a fucking cheeseburger. You just won the Super Bowl. He's like, I don't know. Do I get to go to Disneyland? All I know is I'm stopping for a cheeseburger on the way. They're like, all right, Grimace, take it easy.
I'm just saying, yeah, they make him look like French fries. And like he's just like, yeah, let's go do those commercials. I think they win. Him off a bye. The whole team, they got a good defense
against his old team.
against his old team. Yeah. It's nuts, man. We have to talk about the update of the Michigan scandal. You know why? Like I don't really care about college football, but what's crazy to me is the amount of former Michigan players and Michigan fans and mega Michigan fans being so mad when you blatantly cheated. Like you can be mad that Harbaugh was suspended, but again, guys, I have never seen anything like this in my entire life. The lengths that this guy went to steal signs. It's a fucking movie. It's hilarious. But you look like clowns, and you see all these current and former NFL players. They all look like clowns. I'm sorry, and guys I like, they all look like clowns. You fucking came for us, and they're all acting like the me against the world. Dude, you blatantly cheated. Now, whether your coach should be suspended is a sidebar to me.
Right.
Both can be true. Like,
well, you know me, I'm on Twitter, X, whatever, less than I ever have been, and it's hard not to be on there because it's still the place where you get the fucking news. But the reason I'm on Twitter less than I ever have been is the force feeding of people to you that I don't want to see. Now, I know you're like, oh, it's because you engage with these people and blah, 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 blah. And that may be true for the world's biggest douche, Clay Travis. But if there is one thing that I've never that I do not engage with in any regard, it's Barstool Sports. And yet every time I fucking go on Twitter now, I am being force-fed Dave Portnoy on the Michigan scandal. Just force-fed it. Like, there's never anything. And I'm just like, are we doing this again? Does this guy root for any team that doesn't blatantly cheat? And he just, like, refuses to admit it? Like, dude, you remember, like, the first time this guy ever was on my radar, he's, like, boycotting the NFL because Bill Belichick got suspended for cheating for the 14th time. And now he's like, oh, they're out to get us. I've never seen anybody more with a fucking victim complex than that dickhead who only roots for teams that cheat. Pretty exclusively roots for teams that cheat and just like can't handle it. Bro, it's cool. Your teams fucking cheat, but like get the fuck over it. But God, I've never been force-fed anybody's shithead content more.
They're all doing it.
I'm sure he's not a fucking Astros fan. We gotta wear it. Every team does it.
It's just crazy to me, and I think it's the age we live in, to play the victim when you just blatantly cheat. Like, again, the Harbaugh thing and Harbaugh being suspended, it to me is almost a sidebar. You can be mad about that, and whether that was appropriate is for sure up for discussion. But all these players, man, all of them, dude, they're acting like they didn't do it. You guys blatantly fucking cheated, blatantly, and like embarrassingly. You're quote unquote whatever the fuck his job was, guy is literally whispering in the ear of the defensive coordinator. How much video and visual evidence do you need? Harbaugh fucking knew. Get over it. Get over it. He knew. He knew something. And I'll tell you what, as someone who lives in Ohio, and there's that big Michigan-Ohio thing, which I've never really cared about because I don't care about Ohio State. Now I want Michigan to lose every fucking game. I want to lose every game because they're playing the victim. I hate when people play the victim. Why are you the victim? You cheated and got caught.
And for me, as a guy who's never done anything, I remember Michigan's like one of the, besides going to the Detroit airport, my experience in Michigan is limited. And every once in a while, I'll fucking throw, back in the day, I'd throw like a LeBron James need to escape Ohio. And then 4 million people from Ohio are like, get fucked, you coastal elite dipshit. Like, I hope that fucking Hamas shows up at the fucking Michigan-Ohio State game. I couldn't give a fuck. I couldn't care. Honestly, I like the best thing for probably America as a whole is if something terrible were to happen in the Michigan-Ohio State game. Get fucked, all of you guys.
That includes me, guys.
I'm just saying, if you're like, no, but the Michigan-Ohio State game, regardless of where the fuck it's being played this year, I don't know and I don't care. We'll have 100,000 people there that I could honestly do without.
Oh, man.
Bunch of people yelling at each other about which fucking Big Ten football team is the fucking most important. And then like trying to choose our next president over fucking who supports coal more. Like, get fucked, you fucking weirdos.
It's at Michigan this year. And look, I've been to Ann Arbor a lot, and I think it's actually a really nice campus, and I think it's beautiful up there, especially in the fall. But like the victimization that you're playing, it's just like maybe college football again is just run by complete and utter morons. And the whole system. I feel like are we the only ones still saying, hey, maybe you should be able to use headsets and the technology that's 30 years old? This is how dumb college football is. You have that, and then you have the Jimbo Fischer story, to me, again, is just a microcosm of college football. He gets fired by Texas A&M. They're paying him $76 million not to coach. Not to coach. This is how dumb these universities are. In fact, I'll take it one step further. I don't know why what is the purpose of college at this point? This is how
college?
Yeah, it's fucking worthless.
Wow. Okay.
Like,
it's a huge leap. You should. I mean, you skipped over a whole step. Why didn't you just join me? Like, you don't have to. You don't have to leapfrog a whole thing. Just join me in the like, what the fuck is like? We don't need college sports. Like, it's all a fucking sham. Let's go back to where it's essentially all intramural against other schools. But like, what do we need college for? I don't know. You learn. If you decide. If you know what profession you're going into,
yeah, we need it for certain professions. I'm just saying, like, take Texas A&M. Your university has agreed to give a guy $76 million not to coach.
That's a lot of agricultural equipment you could have bought.
Just saying, like, if my kid was going to Texas A&M, and that'll never happen for the record.
Maybe he wants to be a minor.
Maybe. Why am I paying this tuition when you guys are paying the football coach that you just fired $76 million? I can't take it seriously anymore. Not that I really did. I cannot take college sports seriously at all. It's a fucking circus. And as many problems as I'll have with certain professional leagues, dude, it's amateur hour.
Also, I mean, it's always these things. Like, I wish I could just be. I truly wish. Like, I think my career should be like a floating board member. I think I should just be a floating board member amongst universities and big corporations and whatever, who just comes in at the last minute before anybody does one of these big corporate deals or one of these big coaching deals or one of these big university decisions. And I'm just the guy who gets to say one thing. And like, they'd be like, oh, we're just waiting for Prano to land at the airport. He's coming in for that, that last minute thing. And then like, we're giving Jimbo Fischer $100 and whatever million to be our next football coach. And I was like, oh, I'm glad I got here. I've got a couple other meetings today. His name's fucking Jimbo. All right, I'll see you guys later. Just before you guys sign this deal, just sit with that for a little bit. His name's fucking Jimbo. He's an adult man. He goes by Jimbo. All right, you guys do what you want. That's I got to go over to Arizona State. They're thinking about hiring a guy who calls himself Fluffy. So I'll be back here in a little bit. You let me know how it goes, guys.
They just gave him in 2021. They just gave him a 90. What is it? like a $95 million guaranteed deal. These agents.
You guys have a great time at your board meeting. I'll be right back. I've got to go stop Clemson from extending Dabo. But I'll be back in a little bit.
It's like these agents must just be loving their job. They're thinking these universities are so fucking stupid. They're so dumb. They're like next level dumb. They're just going to give guaranteed money. And the minute the guy goes 6-4, he's fired or some shit.
Yeah.
7-5, fired. Just guaranteed. They're just going to sign the deal. Yeah, sounds like a good deal.
If you guys will excuse me, some school that really thinks that they could be a big football team in the next couple of years is about to let Urban Meyer finger blast their entire student body. I'll be back. Is Urban Meyer, isn't he back on the talk somewhere? Where's Urban Meyer going next?
He's on the talk. He's always on the talk. Of course, he'll be somewhere.
Imagine just like not giving a fuck that much. Seriously, imagine being a room full of people tasked with making that decision. You run a school. You run an institute of higher learning.
But they don't. That you know that. It's not higher learning.
Shit.
It's all money. It's all business. You run a business. You should not be tax exempt. You run a fucking business. It's unbelievable. Michigan. I'll tell you what, I like I said, I'm the whining and the crying. And it sucks because I see it from all these former players. You're like, I kind of like that guy. What are you talking about? Why are you so angry? Yeah, should they not have given the punishment right before they boarded a plane? Was that petty? Where they flew into Penn State? Also, I have zero desire to watch Michigan Penn State. Can we just talk about that? It's ironic that they would get it before the Penn State scandal when literally they got slapped on the wrist for allowing kids to get raped in showers for years. Like this is the institution that you guys thought was going to make the right call here. The NCAA and the Big Ten, who rescinded. Like, I feel like everyone forgets about that. They slapped the penalty on Penn State and then they rescinded it. They're like, pedophilia, child molestation, child rape's not that bad. We're just going to rescind a lot of this stuff. It's unbelievable.
Andy, a Rose Bowl visit this year is our next live podcast after New Orleans in Los Angeles when you come with your Harbaugh New jersey. Oh, I like it.
I still have my Joe Pa New. And that's how dumb college football fans are. 90% of the people there didn't get it. And the occasional boomers like, that's inappropriate. What are you doing? No, what? You're not be walking around here with that. That's not cool. Get out of here with that shit. Can't do it, man. I just no. And you know what they've done, Joe? They now have me rooting for an SEC team, which might probably be even dumber people. Actually, that'd be a fun test. Like if you did an IQ test, like the Ohio State fans, the Michigan fans, the Georgia fans, the Bama fans, the Clemson fans, take your powerhouses. Like who's got the lowest IQ or the highest IQ?
It's tough.
How would you rank those teams I just named? Michigan, Ohio State, Clemson, Bama, Georgia. Those 5 teams.
From smartest to dumbest?
I'm going to say Michigan fans are the smartest.
I agree. Because
Dumbest,
you got Michigan State up there as well. You got whatever. Like Michigan. I mean, Michigan's a really good school.
Really good school.
Yeah. So just based on like a number of your fans are obviously going to be alum. I think that probably you're probably Michigan won.
Does it go Michigan, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, Bama?
Probably. But I don't know. I know some dumb Clemson fans too. I know some hella dumb Clemson fans. I think the only question mark in my rankings might be a sleeper Georgia over Clemson.
Yeah, I could see that maybe. So we have a lot of calls about old episodes now.
Oh boy, here we go.
I want to give a shout out. We have a Google Drive sheet up on the Reddit feed. You don't even know about this because you're not on Reddit.
I don't.
So the dirtball who called last week about our top moments has a public Google Drive sheet. And this is very well put together. It's in category. It's categorized by description, phrase, rant, moment, etc. The episode, if you know it, timestamp if podcast is public, and other notes.
Wow.
And the dirtballs are pretty good. You guys are really good about this. So that's up on Reddit. If you have any of that stuff, hop in. That is a public Google Drive, which is great. And then we have some calls about it. Give us a ring if you have anything that comes to mind. This first call is pretty funny because it shows, again, the memory of dirtballs can be great. 310-359-8365. This is like an old episode highlight. A little ego stroke for Prano on this one. Things I don't remember.
Yo, boys, this is Kyle. I wanted to give you guys some highlights in the 400 to 500 range. This was a call from the last episode asking for highlights. And so my favorite episode of all time is 503, where Andy Laz calls Ruther hysterical after Ruther's reaction to Laz allegedly flooding their Scottsdale Airbnb. So some other ones in that range, though. The 2018 NFL preview show, 449, Joe says, I am in on the Chiefs. And Andy says, I am out on the Chiefs. Chiefs go 12-4 that year. Also in that episode, Stafford is underrated. And this is from Prano. Quote, on a great team, Matt Stafford could be a Super Bowl winner. Then in the next year, 2019 NFL preview, episode 553, they're talking about Jared Goff's salary and what quarterbacks give them a better chance to win a Super Bowl. And Joe, quote, I think Matthew Stafford wins the Super Bowl with the Rams. And then
that's amazing.
2 minutes later, he goes, Russell Wilson is not that good. So that's my doing my due diligence as giving you guys some highlights to talk about in the 1000th episode celebration. See you, boys. At KJ Langan on Instagram.
That's pretty amazing. The Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, that's actually insane that you would say you would pick Stafford. And then it happens a couple years later.
I mean, yeah. Listen,
that's a pretty wild one.
It's a pretty wild one. But that's the and the reason, again, let's just talk about the Chiefs kind of prediction, which is
this was before Patrick Mahomes too. He said 2018.
Right.
He started 2019, but anyway.
Right. But the Chiefs prediction is like, I was never a big Alex Smith guy either. And the Chiefs were always kind of like right there. And like, but you know, they had the year they beat the Pats to start the year. And they have like, it's the Chiefs, another one of those teams, like good team, clearly a quarterback away. I'm not a college football guy. The only thing I knew about Patrick Mahomes before he came into the NFL was he was Pat Mahomes' son. I knew way more about Pat Mahomes before his entry to the NFL than I do about Patrick Mahomes. This is the same thing that goes for, it's always going to be tough for me. People are like, oh, if you're a Giants fan, who do you want? I'm like, I don't know. I don't watch Caleb Williams. I haven't seen a snap of, I don't know his first name, May from North Carolina. I haven't seen I don't watch college football, and I'm not going to. No matter what my team needs, no matter if there's a generational talent out there, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if CJ Stroud, I'm just like, man, I'm not picking an Ohio State quarterback. One day we can go back and say, oh, look at this one he blew. It's like, yeah, but I didn't watch. So I'm not whatever. The thing about Jared Goff and the Rams or Mahomes and the Chiefs or whatever is like, you have these teams where one guy who's clearly talented, who I've been watching for 10 seasons, be great in Detroit on shitty teams, and then a guy who comes into the league on a great team, and you're like, I only see him throw to wide open guys. So give me a guy who's never thrown to a wide open guy and always been pretty goddamn great and put him on that team, because he's just a guy and it came true. It's like when guys, we talked last episode. I don't know what's going on Reddit lately about like the Daniel Jones conundrum or whatever, but it's like, that's the thing about Daniel Jones. He never, on the Giants team that was shit and got no separation from receivers and had no protection, overcame. That doesn't mean I don't think that if you plop him into Brock Purdy's situation that people wouldn't be big cock Danieling, but there's the next level of that is guys who get put in situations that are shit and still excel to a point where whatever, and everybody would be, Matthew Stafford, he fucking, it's all blowout stat padding. It's like, guys, just watch the fucking games. It's not that fucking hard to watch the fucking games and be like, what an elite arm talent. What a fucking tough guy. What a leader. And he's stuck on the fucking Lions. So it's not like, listen, I'll take the ego strokes all day. But my point is, I actually, I want the flowers for being right less than I want you guys to realize that you're fucking idiots who just don't see the obvious shit and then ruin people's fucking Twitter feeds with your terrible fucking takes because you don't know what the fuck you're watching. Well,
and Justin Herbert could be following that Matthew Stafford.
100%. There was the the thing, the Tua Herbert thing will always be linked. And this year it was the guys like, I guess the Tua Herbert thing's done. And I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid.
So here's another one.
Hey guys, another thing you could do with the compilations is you could do the best of Joe Prano's rants or the best of whatever, show specific things. And then you could also do Dirty Sports hottest takes. And those were actually going to be that hard to find. Just go to NFL opening season, NBA opening season episodes and just find some of the many takes that you guys have right. Just post a compilation of that on YouTube or the podcast feed. And you could cut that shit into shorts. And those compilations for podcasts are a great way to get new listeners and new fans who can just get a sample of how legit and good the show is. So have a good one, guys. Stay dirty.
The impersonations would be a fun one, especially when people came. Last episode, I was saying, holy shit, the Ed Orgeron situation on our show has been going on this long.
Yeah.
I had no clue. Here's a trivia you'll probably get. Who was the first impersonation you did? I know who it is. I'm pretty sure it was Bill Walton.
Wow.
I'd have to go back, but I'm pretty sure because it was like, oh, that's an interesting one. I think it was Bill Walton. Stephen A was definitely an early one that you did a lot. I love seeing the commercials for these shows, by the way. Dude, they're so.
My guess on Stephen A was because here's a fun Stephen A fact. This is way before Dirty Sports. This is way before fucking podcasts even existed. I used to drive my old Cadillac, my Cadillac in New York, my 88 DeVille. I used to commute from Brooklyn to White Plains for a fucking paralegal job, like a legal assistant job. I was working in a fucking real estate office. And so back in the day, this is pre-plugging your iPhone into your car. So it was like, I'm either rocking CDs or I'm listening to the radio. And since I was a child, hated WFAN. I think people who think Mike Francesca and Mad Dog Russo is good fucking entertainment should eat glass. I have hated it since I was a child. I was like, these guys are dipshits. So ESPN radio finally becomes a thing in New York. And I used to throw on ESPN radio as I was driving to and from work. And every once in a while, I would get Stephen A. Smith. And I'd listen to it for like 3 minutes. And then I would turn off the radio. And I would do Stephen A. alone in my car. Because I was like, my shitty, screaming Stephen A. takes that I'm doing on purpose to be ludicrous is better radio.
Hilarious.
Is better radio than this fucking guy. Because I'd listen
hilarious.
for 3 minutes and then I'd turn it off. And I'd be like, the thing with David Wright is, and you're fucking, and it's just like, it was the worst. And I was like, I can't win in this town. I just have WFAN and Stephen A. Smith screaming nonsense. And I would essentially just do the worst takes of all time in Stephen A's voice as I drove through traffic in New York City.
Do you know my intro to Stephen A?
No.
Like, for somebody who didn't live on the East Coast, the first time I saw him was he used to go on the Best Damn Sports Show. And my dad used to watch that. And I'd watch that with my dad, like when I was home during the summers from college. I actually pulled up a clip. I'm going to pull this up. I don't even know what this is. This is a clip from circa, it says around like 2002. A lot of you guys are like, what are you talking about? This was the Best Damn Sports Show, which was on like Fox Sports Net. Wasn't that the name of it?
Yeah.
It was something different. It was completely different. It's not their Fox Sports now, but this is Stephen A. on the Best Damn Sports Show again, like around 2000.
Very valid point. The Mets made tremendous deals in the offseason. We are talking about the New York Yankees.
Can you hear this?
Yeah. We are talking about the New York Yankees.
And you look at the Yankees, the Mets, you talk about the Giants, the Jets. You can't have the New York Knicks lose. Yeah. That's just unacceptable, man. It can't happen. It cannot happen. I'm disgusted, man. I'm disgusted.
With the Nets winning. I mean, I think
I didn't even think about the Nets.
Dude, he's been that ridiculous all along, hasn't he?
Yeah, like how do you bring a guy on and his essentially his contribution to the show is and you're like, dude, we got to get this guy more airtime.
That's amazing. It really is. Okay, here's another call. Dude, they're just coming in. Blast from the past.
Hey, Dirty Sports. Your boy, Nick. Number one dirtballer from Alaska. We're back. So I was just wondering, like, where the fuck is Matty Goldberg? Is that dude alive? Does that dude listen? What's good with that guy? I feel like you guys don't even have guests on the show anymore. You know what I mean? Like, where even is Tug Paper Tiger Coker? Where's that guy? I mean, Goldberg's way funnier, but anyways, Where's Barry McCockiner? Where's Sean Merriman? What? 1,000 episodes coming up. You know, have like a reunion for like 1,001 episode. I mean, I'm not here to tell you guys to do anything. I'm just throwing shit out there. But you know, hey, the main request though, Matty Goldberg. Where the fuck is that goober? We need him. We need him back. Anyways, you guys are still dope, and condoms will always be for Tony Romo. Okay, Phil Simms wasn't even that bad. I don't know why they got rid of him for this fucking dork. Anyway, peace out.
So, real quick, let's start from the end. I find Romo like so unbearable now, and I don't know why it just keeps festering. You know, I'm watching that game yesterday. I think, am I crazy or is this just I'm letting my dislike of him blind what I'm thinking? I feel like he talks more than most of the guys. Am I wrong in that?
No, I think you're right. It's hard for me to judge. Like, I know we've talked about this on the show a lot. Like, I really don't like, I kind of tune out all those guys other than the Manning cast. Like, I just don't. Like, I'm watching the game, but all that shit, like, I don't know if my volume's, I mean, it's not off. I'm not doing music on Sundays, but like, I just tune out that shit. Like, I don't give a fuck what essentially any of them have to say. So I get it. Like, I enjoyed Romo to start. It's fallen off my enjoyment of him. And then it's now to the point I tune him out. I used to be tuned in, and now I'm just kind of tuning him out like I tune out everybody else. So I get that people don't like him, but I just don't have a real strong opinion of either way because I just don't care.
I just feel like he feels he has to talk. You can let the game flow. I looked up out of curiosity. So Goldberg last did the show like August of 2022. Tug was on more recently.
Tug was on somewhere recently. Tug's finally off the picket line. So Tug should be available. Tug's got 3 boys and has been doing a lot of picketing. So he should be back. And Paper Tiger, I mean, we definitely need a Paper Tiger update. I mean, love to hear Tug's opinion of the Cowboys right now. Goldberg, I saw Goldberg post online a few times that he might have done some comedy shows. Now, every time Matty does a comedy show, it's his last comedy show. Every post is, this is my final performance. The only interaction I've had with Matty is he was very angry about the Aaron Rodgers thing. I did not know, I did not know a guy who, much like most Patriots fans, delusional about their cheating and upset, us against the world, they're out to get us. I did not see him coming to the defense of a Jets QB, but that's my only interaction with Matty in like 2 full years. He's very upset about the Aaron Rodgers situation. He's a big, I don't know what part of that, but Sean Merriman, I think, is getting married to Marianne Doe and scheduling UFC fights for her. And who was the other one?
Barry McCockiner. Oh, I never followed Barry. So I don't know who, now that Brady's gone, who has he moved on? Like, does he have a new thing? He still goes to Brady. He still goes to Brady, and he still goes to Steph Curry. Oh, dude, he posted about Brady 3 hours ago. Tampa Bay Bucks through 9 games. 2022 with Brady, 4-5 record. 2023 with Baker Mayfield, 4-5 record. Baker equals GOAT.
He's still on Brady. Bro, let it go. Let it go.
He's got some weird takes. He's got some bad takes too.
Well, you got to, here's the thing that.
So he's coming at he's coming at like Stroud, like he tweeted last night. CJ Stroud is going to get more MVP consideration for having a game-winning drive after he threw a terrible late INT to keep his opponent in the game instead of if he won by 7 to 10 points. Which might be true, but I think the point is with MVPs and with quarterbacks, right? Again, you can lead your team back when your back's against the wall after you do make a mistake.
Of course. My thing with Barry, and I'm obviously a LeBron guy, and I loved what he has to say about LeBron as compared to Jordan and all that stuff. And I'm an anti-Tom Brady guy a little bit.
A little bit.
I mean, I'm just, again, Barry McCockner is a Tom Brady hater. I'm a Tom Brady truther. And also, I came around, I said on the show, I was like, the GOAT. Like, you went to Tampa Bay, you did it. We gave him the GOAT. We did the GOAT thing. So I don't know how much more I can fucking walk that back. I mean, I walked it so far back that Matty Goldberg's in my fucking mentions defending Jets QBs. What the fuck do I know at this point? What up from down, down from up. But the thing that about Barry is back in the day when he first came on the scene, there was a lot of like Eli Manning hate and like Carson Wentzing. And I was like, and we got to the bottom of it. He was an Eagles fan. So now I look at everything. I'm like, what is this? Is this CJ? Is he coming at CJ Stroud because no one's like sucking Jalen Hurts for MVP dick? Like, I don't think you get the MVP for fucking the tush push, bro.
I love the tush push. More teams need to do that. I don't get why more teams don't do it. I just don't get it.
You're going to get it when the Eagles are not the NFC team in the Super Bowl because they have a hobbled quarterback that they beat to shit 14 times a game. You're gonna get it. You'd be like, they injured their own guy. Honestly, what you should the next level of the tush push is having a guy on your roster who's tush push guy.
Specialized tush push guy.
Yeah. Like, we don't give a fuck if Taysom Hill lives or dies. Like, he's just our tush push guy.
It's like the fluffer in porn. They have the fluffers to
Yeah.
get them ready for the porn. You got the tush push guy. That could be a job for somebody.
Yeah.
Like the specialized long snapper.
Yeah.
I'm picturing a room, by the way, of Barry McCockner, who, again, has never been seen in public, Tug Coker, Sean Merriman, and Matty Goldberg. Imagine those guys in a house together. What if I told you? What's that house like?
I mean, first of all, let's just look at the fandom. Like, Sean obviously played for the Chargers, and like, good for Sean. Like, that's whatever. But you just imagine a house of that Eagles fan, Cowboys fan, Pats fan.
They are so bad, for the record, the Pats. You think Belichick sticks it out to get a number 1 pick?
I don't know. It's either, I think Belichick either sticks it out and is there, or like goes to the Chargers. Or takes a job that seems like almost ready built.
How many more wins do the Chargers have right now if Belichick's their coach? They're 4-5. Do you have 2 or 3 wins?
Yeah, I'd say 3 wins. They're 7-2.
That would make for an interesting AFC West suddenly. If Belichick went to the Chargers. Or even Harbaugh, like we discussed. Just get Staley out of there. You guys want to revive the fan base? Get Belichick.
That's the issue with the Chargers right now is you gave Herbert the money. And I know that idiots who thought my Russell Wilson is overrated. Matthew Stafford would win a Super Bowl on the Rams prediction that we've revisited. I know you guys out there are like,
fucking Justin Herbert, they wasted the money. I'll take Brock, big cock Brock all day.
By the way, I like Brock Purdy. I'm going to continue to repeat that over and over. I like Brock Purdy.
Do you?
But yeah, I do. I actually do. Like, dude, all you got, my thing with Brock, like, you got to play the game, man. You got to play the hand you're dealt. Be you, dude. Like, great. Awesome. But just don't be so delusional. Like, as I said, when we first did the Brock thing when we got the call about Brock Purdy driving the ball down the field, is if you called Kyle Shanahan right now and said, we'll trade you Justin Herbert and all his money for Brock Purdy, he would be like, okay, no backsies. I've sent a private plane. I've included Brock and multiple other cocks on they're all coming your way. But the people who said that are the same kind of people who are, shitting on Justin Herbert, choke, late game, fucking, nonsense yards and whatever. And the truth is, the Chargers should have paid him because they have a franchise QB. And they should be like, you're in the division with the Chiefs. And we're year, like, it's not delusion on part of talent evaluators to say the Chargers should be right there. They should be. Staley is clearly the issue. So, another prediction, if somebody wants to go back to the pre-Nostradamus supercut, is from Sideshow Network, NBA preview show, the year the Warriors won their first chip. I was like, they're going to be contenders because Mark Jackson is gone. All the talent is there. They have a coach holding them back. And the longer you stay with Staley, the more and more you're wasting Herbert, the more and more you're playing on this contract where it's going to be harder and harder to fill talent when the guys that you're drafting who are talented then also have to get paid.
Yeah.
So if I was them, yeah, if you can trade 2 first rounders and fucking get Belichick from the Patriots, or if you can trade whatever or do what you have to do. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's fucking the Chargers owner who's started the Michigan scandal. Like, if he's smart, I'd get it. If I was him, if I was fucking the Chargers owner, I'd be using some of my billions of dollars to do a super cut of Jim Harbaugh watching Joe Paterno fuck kids. Like, I'd do a deep fake.
There's a mental image you won't get out of your head.
Yeah.
All right, guys, give us a ring. 310-359-8365. That's the hotline. We're on social at The Dirty Sports. Joe is performing in a town near you in Alaska.
Nick, Alaskan DirtBall. What town you live in, buddy? Because I'm coming to Kenai, Anchor Point, Wasilla, and, of course, Anchorage this week. Pizza Star and I flying up to Alaska tomorrow. Shows Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 shows. Saturday, 2 shows in Anchorage on Friday. And then Saturday. You can get tickets by going to joeprano.com and looking at my schedule. All of the Alaska shows have the city on my schedule, and then underneath it where I'll be performing. And you can go there and check that out. Also, of course, we are coming to New Orleans, Comedy House NOLA, December 16th. Live podcast, 2 live shows. Go to Comedy House NOLA and get your tickets. If you go to the 7 o'clock show and you buy a ticket to the show, go scroll down to the bottom, get a bundle. and get the podcast free. Hope to see you guys there. We're super excited about it. And then, as I've said before, DirtBalls come to shows a lot, and they're like, thought you were going to do Bill Walton. I thought you were going to do Ed Orgeron. I'm like, dude, there's 150 people at the show, and you're the only one who knows who Ed Orgeron is. And I would love to do that for you, but I cannot. But I've come up with a way to solve that problem. December 5th at the Hollywood Improv Lab, I'm doing a night of sports comedy. Dan O'Carter is going to be on. Kostaki Economopoulos, Megan Gailey, Danny Jollis, a bunch of sportsy comedians are going to talk some sports. So if you want to come see me talk sports on stage, come to the lab December 5th.
All right, guys, that's our show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll be back on Thursday. Joe will be in Alaska for that show. Have a great start to your week. And as always, stay dirty.